With episode 1 of ReZero Season 2 just around the corner, it's only natural that some more people will become interested with the series. Therefore, I feel like now is the best time to come forward and address one of the biggest fan theories created back when Season 1 aired. To debunk this theory, I will have to be using some information from Season 1 of the anime, as well as content from the light novel and web novel. Therefore, this is a reminder that if you do not want to be spoiled, it's best if you click away from the video now. Without further ado, enjoy the video. So the first question for those watching this video is, what is the theory? And this theory involves our good friend Subaru and insinuates that he is the final Sin Archbishop of the Witch's cult, taking the seat of Pride. The main origin of this theory originated from the Sin Archbishop of Sloth, who questioned Subaru and asked him whether or not he was Pride.
なるほど。これは確かに興味深いですね。あなた、もしや傲慢でありませんですかね。お答えいただけないようです。
Now, if Subaru was Pride, it would actually explain why a lot of the characters react to him adversely. Rem, for example, believes him to be a part of the Witch's cult in Arc 2 due to his scent. In Arc 4, Garfield also dislikes Subaru due to his scent. His power returned by death would also metaphorically represent his pride to not let anyone die. And to top it off, high-ranking members in the Witch's cult also see him as an ally or believe him to be Pride. So everything fits into place. This evidence is all but seemingly confirmed in Arc 6 by the witch cult Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, Louis Arneb, in which she decides to ask Subaru if he is Pride, noticing the similarity between them. She then goes on to explain that the vacancy of Pride belongs to him, and she surmises that the authority returned by death is the authority belonging to Pride. So Subaru must be Pride, right? Well, not likely. Because there's one piece of information I haven't told you, and that's because of a series of doors. In Arc 6, Subaru comes across 7 doors in succession. In the web novel, this is actually a single door with 7 gemstones. In the web novel, when Subaru approaches the door, 4 of the gems light up. In the light novel, when he initially approaches the door, he can pass through 3 of the doors. And later on in the arc, when he obtains the witch factors of gluttony, he can pass through 4 of the doors. This tells us that these doors and or gemstones, depending on what version you're reading, reflects the number of witch factors Subaru has at the time. With this information, we can therefore work out what witch factors Subaru has. Remember, witch factors enable people to use authorities. So if Returned by Death was an authority of Pride, that means he would have the Pride witch factors, therefore making him the Sin Archbishop of Pride. Luckily, it's very easy to work out what witch factors Subaru has up to this point in the show. Since Subaru is witch factor compatible, whenever he kills a Sin Archbishop, he absorbs their witch factors. Up to this point in the show of Arc 6, Subaru has killed 2 Archbishops, which means that he has 2 confirmed witch factors, which are Sloth from Betelgeuse and Greed from Regulus. We know this because he actually manifests their authorities with Invisible Providence and Corleonis respectively. One of the remaining witch factors is gluttony, And we know this because in Odd Laguna, Luis Arneb splits her soul and witch factors in half and devours Subaru in Odd Laguna, giving him the witch factors temporarily. This again leaves only one unknown witch factor that Subaru has, which can either be Pride, making Subaru the Sin Archbishop of Pride, or Envy witch factors. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky, because there's been no confirmation in the story as to what the final witch factor is. However, we can work backwards from established information. In Arc 4, we learn from Echidna that return by death is an authority. Keep that in mind, because remember, for someone to manifest an authority, they must have the corresponding witch factors. So for example, if you have the authority of the unseen hand, that means you must have sloth witch factors. If you have the ability to use Corleonis, you must have the witch factors for greed. So, return by death is an authority. We also learn that the person who gave Subaru this authority is Satella. So therefore, we know that Subaru has witch factors, which are most likely the envy witch factors given to him by the Witch of Envy. Therefore, summarizing all of this information and knowing that return by death was given to him by the Witch of Envy implies that Subaru again has the envy witch factors, preventing him from having pride witch factors. Therefore, Subaru is not the Sin Archbishop of Pride, therefore debunking the theory. Whilst this hasn't been confirmed, it's heavily implied to be the case. Thanks for watching.